everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be learning how to apply foundation. So everything from applying your foundation, what I like to do, why you use primer, how to set a foundation, the difference between translucent powder and other powders. Everything that is foundation related is going to be in this video. So please stay tuned because foundation is probably one of the most basic steps in makeup, but it's the one that means the most to an entire look, if that makes sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and if you have any questions still after everything I've mentioned in this video, please go ahead and leave it in the comments because I do respond to all my comments, and if it's something that I can make another video on, I will totally make another video on it. The other thing is I'm going to be doing a makeup basics playlist most likely, so if you want more videos in this playlist, please leave recommendations for basic things that you want to know how to do, whether it be apply false lashes, which I'm most likely going to do anyways, or whether it's, I don't know, lip lining, whatever, cheeks. I can do basic looks, I can do basic videos on anything that you are struggling with. Leave comments down below. Other than that, keep on watching and you will see how I do my foundation every day that I do it. And yeah, that was all. Okay, hey everybody. Okay, so as I mentioned before, today I'm going to be teaching you the basics on how to apply foundation. It's going to be really simple, quick and easy, back to basics tutorial, and I am hoping to put these all in a back to basics playlist. To begin, I have already applied my primer. This is just a sample of the L'Oreal Base Magique. And the reason I like using primer is to fill in my pores and to smooth out the skin, and primer also helps with the longevity of your foundation as well. So primer is a great product if you want to make your foundation last pretty much twice as long as it normally would without a primer, and it's also good, like I said, for filling in your pores, any fine lines, and kind of just smoothing out the surface of the skin. Really quick and easy, pretty basic. So that is my first tip. And the second tip is I always use, or try to always use, a clean foundation brush. The reason I always use brushes is because I find they don't absorb as much product as something like a sponge does. Even a sponge like the Beauty Blender absorbs a lot of product even when you use it with water. I just don't find it applies it as evenly. So using a brush means that all the product that you're using goes onto your face. There is not as much wastage as there is with a sponge, so it makes your foundation cheaper and last longer. The other thing is with a clean brush, you know you're not going to be getting bacteria buildup in your brush, and yes, that is disgusting, and yes, that is exactly what happens when you don't clean your brushes. Okay, so that is tip 2. The third tip, always shake your foundation. It's probably a basic one because every foundation says shake before use, but it's basically going to make sure that there is no settling in your product. I'm using the Smashbox Studio Skin 15-hour hydrating wear in 1.2. I love this stuff. So what I do with this, I always get one with a pump, but if it doesn't have a pump, just pour it onto the back of your hand. It's totally up to what product you're using. The only thing I would recommend is when you have ones that don't have a pump, a lot of people say to do, say this is an open bottle, right? Say to do this, and then put it on the back of your hand or apply it to your face. That is the best way to get germs into your product. How do people not realize that? So always make sure that even if you don't have a pump, you're pouring onto the back of your hand. Yeah, you may waste a little bit more product, but you're not going to have any bacteria building up inside the jar of your product. With my foundation, I use 1.5 pumps on the back of my hand, and then I grab my clean brush and I just pick up the tiniest little bit, and I start from the center of the face, and I press it into my nose, and then begin to pat it under the eyes and blend it out. Really easy stuff, am I right? Also, the brush I'm using currently is the Sigma Round Top Kabuki F82. So once you've done an area, apply some more product, or pick up some more product. And by the time I get to the cheek, you really normally, depending on your problem areas, won't need as much product the further out of the face. So I like to concentrate most of my product in the center of my face with patting motions, and then I blend it out around my chin and my cheeks and continue to pat to get the most concentrated product in the center of my face. Depending on where your problem areas are, you will want to be patting the product in. Another thing is if you have pretty serious acne, you may want to use a separate brush, because by using a brush on a place that is acneic, which means it's infected, and then spreading it into another area, you're just spreading the contamination and the infection, because acne is bacteria. And you may notice I'm kind of all about not spreading bacteria. How quick and easy was that? I have applied my foundation. One coat, nice and easy. It's not going to be full coverage. I don't normally go in with a liquid concealer simply because I don't find that they work the way that I like them to. But if you do, now is the time to do that. So find any spots that may continue to need concealing. A lot of people say inner tear duct and down the under eye area is somewhere that they like to conceal. With that, you can use a salmon tone concealer, which will counteract the purpleness under the eyes, and it will brighten it up. And also a shade lighter for this entire area will help to brighten it up and help with contouring. That's a whole other video, and I'm sure I'm going to do it. I promise you I'll do it. It's just not getting done today. That is my very simple, quick and easy basics on how to apply foundation. But I will go just that one step further on how I like to powder my foundation. Because right now, you've done your foundation, but it will probably move. You heard me, it might move. So what I like to do for the under eyes, this is my powder concealer that I like to use. It's only a mini of the Bare Minerals Summer Bisque. This is amazing. So the way you would normally use a loose powder is you would open it very carefully and you will find that there is powder sitting in the top of the product. What you do then, I am constantly trying to get this to go back into the pot. It's kind of tricky though. So just tip a little bit out into the lid. Tiniest little bit goes along this way. I don't know if you guys can see that. Then I go in with my Sigma tapered highlighter brush and I kind of pack it into the brush, but it's not going to pick everything up, and then tap off the loose excess, and super easy. So the best way to highlight the under eye area is from the inner tear duct all the way down to the end of the nose, back up to the back of the eye, and then fill it in. I prefer to use a powder concealer simply because it prevents creasing and it helps set the under eye, and that way you know you won't get any creasing or any wrinkling, which if you guys watched my How to Be Emo or Seen video, you would know the concealer that I used there was incredibly creasy and made me look a million years old. And a lot of the comments are, how old are you? You look old. So I learned that mistake. I learned from that mistake and I moved on to powder. So pretty quickly you can see the difference there. With this concealer, you can see the difference. Not only is this area brighter, but it's a lot smoother looking. Whereas here you can see very specifically the tiredness, the circles around my eyes. Even when I smile, you can see that this area is completely brightened up. You can't see that shadowing. So this is definitely, definitely something I recommend. And it's so easy. I'm not even using the mirror right now. So just from the inner tear duct down to the end of the nose, all the way back up, and then there. You would think it's weird putting powder under your eyes. It's not. And this brush makes an absolute dream as well because it hugs the side of the nose and it gets right up to the eye as well. So it does have a little bit of an iridescence and glow to it, but if you have open pores and oily skin like myself, I find it doesn't exaggerate that as much as some other shimmering highlighter powders do. Even when they say they are good for under the eyes, I find this is the best. So that is my under eye concealer all done now. Once I've concealed under my eyes with my powder concealer, I would go in with my all over face powder. And this is just to set the foundation, prevent it from moving. If you want a little bit of extra coverage, which oftentimes you'll find that I do, I will go in with a tinted powder, so something like the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural or the Smashbox powders, whatever the hell they're called. Currently I'm all out of my tinted powders, so I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Studio powder, high definition powder rather. This stuff, okay, the difference between a loose translucent powder and a pressed tinted powder, basically with this it has no pigment to it, so it's going to come off clear. These ones will often show up in flash because they are a white powder. So because these ones are white, they will leave a white cast in flash photography and occasionally in videos, but they work like a last step primer. So they fill in any pores and they diffuse the entire image of your skin, if that makes sense. It gives you that kind of airbrushed appearance. Some, like this one, are very easy to go overboard with. So, quick tip, exactly the same as you would with the loose powder concealer that I just showed you. This tip applies for the concealer that I just applied, as well as translucent powders, as well as loose powder foundations. You're basically going to pour just a little bit into the cap. The other thing with these is that they're very, very, very lightweight and silky. Then with a big puffy powder brush, you're just going to swirl it in there. And this is where it differs from a mineral foundation or a loose powder foundation. This one you just want to quickly dust all over the skin, whereas a loose powder foundation you want to be using a very, very dense brush, so something even more dense than this, which is the Sigma Large Powder F30, and you want to be really buffing it in. So that's the difference between these. This, you just kind of want to pounce on the skin and dust it all over, and it will set the foundation, but it won't actually give any pigment. I often find that, especially with this one, I end up looking quite pale. Tiny little bit of powder goes a long way with these ones, especially because you don't want it to show up on the skin. But of course, if you had a larger one of the Summer Bisque, you could always just use that all over the face. I wish I had a larger one of the Summer Bisque, because I would love to be using that all over the face. So that is everything for my foundation tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. So I hope that video helped you guys, and if it did, like I said, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe and comment. Let me know how it helped you, or if you still struggle, because I know foundation took me forever. And now that I have it, I really want to share all the tips and tricks that I have with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and you will all see me in my next video. Okay, bye!